Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Bailey and I'm the owner of Goo Goo Goods. I want to start this video off today by saying happy 2024 and that I hope you had a really good holiday season as well as a safe and fun New Year's as well. We definitely had a really good holiday season. We went to North Carolina and visited with my family and my husband's family, but my boys for some reason were a little bit homesick, and I guess I was too, but we didn't have to deal with that last year. They didn't really feel that, but it definitely felt good to come back home and kind of get back into our element, and we are just really excited to jump into 2024 and see what it has for us. Today's video is just going to be a recap on all the markets I did in 2023. I wrote it down in my spreadsheet here and I did 35 markets this year, and that only started in July, so I've definitely done a lot in a short period of time. But I'm going to go over what the market was, like the name of the market and like the organizers and everything, and I'm going to go over how much I made, how much I paid, and then kind of my overarching thoughts on the market, on if I would do it again or if I'd recommend it to other people to do it. If you're in the Central Florida area, hopefully this can help you figure out kind of the markets that you think would work best for you. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. I have a spreadsheet here on my computer. It's just like a Google Sheets, and I wrote down the market name, the organizers, how much I made, the booth fee, and my opinion. And with each market, I will link in the cards, I don't remember if it's up here or if it's over here, the video that I made corresponding to that market. So if you think you're interested in a market and you want to refer back to the video where I did it, you can click on it there. So I'm going to go through each market and all the information, and then at the end I will tell you how much I made in total at all of my markets, how much I spent at all my markets, and then I'll do, like, you know, how much I made versus how much I made minus how much I spent, so you can have my total revenue for the 35 markets I did. And then I will go over the plans for 2024. So my very first market was with Vintage and Makers Market. That's different from Markets for Makers, which I did later in the year. Kind of confusing, a lot of very similar names for stuff. So the first one was that one, and the name of that market was the Summer Sip and Shop. And at that event I only made $150 and my booth fee was $50. So my opinion on that one, it's a little bit mixed. I would say it's more negative than positive. Some of the pros of that was the venue was really cute, but a con of that venue is that it was kind of far away. It was like an hour away, and it was really cute, but it was kind of in the middle of nowhere in Umatilla, Florida. And I do markets called Whimsy that are in Umatilla at this place called Sensational that are always good. So, but this venue was a little bit pulled back from the road, and kind of like you wouldn't know it's there unless you know that you're going to an event there. So I would say, in my opinion, I would not do that again. She said that like the previous year that it was like really bumping, but I just feel like there was no one in there, and for the time, also it was like an inside like table space. So I just feel like for that, I wouldn't say that that was worth, and kind of because of that, I've not ventured into doing any more markets with the Vintage and Makers markets. And also there's kind of like an issue with like the organizer. She's just kind of going through a lot. She is the person who is running the Small Collective Co., and I think just personally she has too much going on to focus on the market stuff. All the markets are always in beautiful places, but ever since that first one, I just can't bring myself to do another one. But yeah, so I would not do that one again. And the second one I ever did was at the Quantum Leap Winery with Orlando Local Makers. I made $95 and I spent $75. So also not good, not worth my time. So I think what's interesting, as I was going through this, she lowered the prices of the booth fees for stuff, because the first two Orlando Local Makers that I did was $75, and I don't know if that's just for the winery and House on Lang. The House on Lang and the Quantum Leap Winery were ones that I only ever did once, so I don't know if those are always the prices for that, but she has other ones that are only $50. But obviously the winery is no good. It's definitely a high booth fee for what it is, because yeah, it is also an inside venue, so I don't think it was a 10 by 10 inside. I can't really remember. Maybe it was. I think it might have been. But it's hot in there, and you're kind of just back in the winery where like, you know, you're not like in the tasting room. People have to like come to you and have to know it's there once again. So I would not recommend doing the Quantum Leap Winery with Orlando local makers. So let's move on to the Baldwin Park Saturday Market. And this is with Baldwin Park Community Market. I was pretty excited about this one. I made $191 and my booth fee was $45. So my opinion, I wrote, not bad. I do really like this one because it's really close to my house. And you know, for $45, it's not bad. And it's like just in the day on Saturday. So I liked that. It was a really hot market, if I can remember. It was really, really hot. So not bad. I don't mind doing that one. Those are not typically super successful markets in my opinion, but not bad. So the next one I have, number 4, is House on Lang, and that's also with Orlando local makers. And I made $193 and I spent $75. And once again, kind of like the winery, the $75 is kind of high. It was okay. So I think it was a high booth fee in my opinion, especially for what it is. We're just kind of like in the back of this small like area thing called House on Lang. And it's really, really cute. But once again, I don't think there's that much foot traffic for $75 because the whimsy markets that I'll talk about later, they're only $60, and it's crazy foot traffic at Umatilla, like at the Sensational Farms in Umatilla. It's crazy. Number 5, it was the TPD night market Friday night, but this one was on Saturday, and that's with Orange Boy Events. And it was on Saturday because it got canceled Friday night because of really bad rain. So that was like during the day on Saturday as opposed to when it's usually like Friday nights. And I made $210, which was good. And I technically spent $0 because the $25 that I paid went towards like an upcoming market. So they said that like if you couldn't come back on Saturday that you could either refund that $25 or put it towards another market. So I just put it towards another market. So I'm just considering that as a free market. So $210 for $0 is pretty good. I wrote for my opinion, better than others, low booth fee, and I like the organizers a lot. I really like Grant. Grant is my homeboy. And then the next one I did was another TPD night market, and it was a Friday night one. So this actually was on Friday night, and it is with Orange Boy Events. I only made $42, and so I spent $25 on that. It was a rough night is what I put. Rough night, only one sale at the last minute, and I remember that, and I'm happy that I got that one sale. But yeah, it was like at 10 o'clock. So, and also kind of like a negative thing about those, it's not like it's too far away from me, but it is downtown Orlando, so it is kind of a drive, and you have to pay to park downtown. It's only like $10, but you do have to kind of factor that into that. So also you have to walk back to your car late at night in downtown Orlando, which isn't bad. I've never been like nervous or scared or anything like walking to my car, but it's just something to think about if like you are kind of a little bit sketched out by that. I've always felt safe, but you know. The next one on my list is Cannon Coffee, and that is with Valley Lane Co. I made $119 and I spent $25. But I said that it was not very good. The sales were from other vendors mostly, low foot traffic, and not in a great location. And it's kind of one of those things where the people who set it up were really, really nice. But when I went there, it was kind of like they didn't really have a super good plan for how they were setting people up. Like they were in front of a coffee shop, but when I first got there, they were saying like, oh, you can come set up here. And it was behind like the dumpsters. But there was a bunch of space in front of the coffee shop where there weren't any people set up. So I was a little bit confused by that, and I understand it's kind of like a new market too. But Cannon Coffee is in Apopka, which is a little bit of a drive from me, depending on like traffic. It can be upwards of like 50 minutes to drive out there, which isn't bad, but if you're only making like $100, that's just like not gonna work out. And it just kind of feels like you have to be wanting to go to the coffee shop to know that we were there. They do a lot of good social media posting and everything like that, but I just personally wouldn't do it again. If you know, if you're not doing anything on a Saturday and want to just like set up and do that, go for it. I just personally don't think it is worth my time investment, especially because like, you know, I want to spend my Saturday, if it's not going to be successful, I want to spend my Saturdays at Disney with my family. So yeah, so there's that one. And then the next one is the Baldwin Park First Friday, which will be the first one that I've done of that, and that is with Baldwin Park Community Market. I made $135 and I spent $45. And I put for my opinion that night markets are always pretty iffy at Baldwin Park. I feel like Baldwin Park Community Market, if you're doing a Friday night market, it's kind of like, it's a hit or miss. I've not done too many, but most of them are miss. I did have a pretty good one like closer to Christmas time that I think just kind of random, and I also don't know if I can attribute the non-success of my previous ones to my location, because I've always been set up in front of the cigar bar, which is not a very pleasant place to be set up in front of. So the last one that I did that was successful, I was in front of the gymnastics place, and that worked out really, really good. So I don't know if it was just a change in scenery there or if it was just kind of a fluke. So I don't know if I'll continue to do the Baldwin Park First Fridays. I'll probably do a couple of Saturday markets here and there, but also because like I committed to a lot of Friday night markets last year because I was really trying to get into the market scene. But with my husband's job, he has to like come home early and take PTO to watch our children. So I probably am not going to be doing any not a lot of Friday night markets. I'm gonna do an art after dark like here and there because that was really good for me, but I think for Baldwin Park it's going to be a no to the First Friday stuff. And then next up on my list I have another TPD night market Friday night, and that is with Orange Boy Events again. I made $70 and I paid $25, and I never do good at these. So yeah, that's how I feel. There's just not too many people, like there's just not a ton of foot traffic in that area. Sometimes it's okay, I've heard, but I've never had like a super successful night market with TPD. But once again, the organizers are my friends, so I feel bad that I never do good at those because I would like to come and hang out. The next one on my list I have is a Collective Corner market, and it is ran by Collective Corner. I don't remember the name of this specific market, but at this one I made $213 and the booth fee was $75. And I really like Collective Corner markets. I think they are well run and are always generally successful. This one was one of the not as successful ones. It was my most successful event to date. After 10 of them, this was my most successful one. And something about this one, I don't know if it was the construction on that road or something, but this one was just like not as good as they typically are. And the person behind me, I think if I remember correctly, only made like $15, so I'm taking that as a win. The next one on my list, number 11, is the Birthday Bash with the Glazer Children's Museum. So this one is a womp womp. I made $207 and I spent $100, so it was not worth it at all. We got rained out at the end of it, but there wasn't any rain yet. There was just like a threat of rain. So we drove 2 hours to Tampa, me and Ethan. So my parents flew down here to watch my kids. Also, we weren't in a very good spot at all, in my opinion. So like we did all this rigmarole to get down there, and I'd done this on a recommendation. That's the only reason I even signed up for it, is because someone recommended it to me because she had done really, really well at it. So I don't know what the deal is, but I've learned through this one and another event that anything at Glazer Children's Museum is not it for me. So next up on our list, number 12, was at Rock Pit Brewing, and this is also with Orlando local makers. And this was a complete and total fail for me. I made $0 and I paid $50, and I'm pretty sure everyone around me also had the same experience. So I said, bad. We'll never do midweek markets again. And so yeah, that's all I have to say about that, I guess. It was not good. Wednesday markets with Orlando local makers, it's just, it could be attributed to how we were set up. It was kind of like one half of it was in front of the brewery, and it was like food trucks, and then all the vendors were on the other side, so you'd have like on the other side of a wall. So you'd have to like go through and go in there, like go around the wall to where we were. So I don't know if that attributed to the issue, but I will never do that again, and I do not recommend it. So the next one on my list I have is the Baldwin Park First Friday, another one of those, and that's with the Baldwin Park Community Market. and I made $194 and I spent $45. So, okay, pretty good for this market. Still, I mean, not super great. I don't think you ever really want to, like, I don't know. I feel like my goal is to always make over $200, I guess, because I mean, even that's like not really making you any money, but I guess that was close to 200. So it is what it is if you have time and you want to do it Baldwin Park. Once again, it's close to my house, so it's not a huge ordeal, but it being on Friday does make it a little bit more complicated, so probably won't do that one again. And then next up I have Bruno's Bodega. So this was like around Halloween, and this is with Orange Boy Events, the same people who do TPD Night Market, and this one was in front of a pizza place called Bruno's Pizza, or it might be called Pizza Bruno. I made $125 and I spent $20. It was really low foot traffic, but it was okay. I probably wouldn't do it again. Once again, I'm not making enough money there to really warrant me going out on my Sunday and setting up, because it takes a lot of effort to set up and bring everything. It's just not worth it. And I think that most of that came from one person, like later on in the day. So yeah, so I probably wouldn't do it. Okay, so now we're actually starting into a couple of good ones. So the next one I have is my first Whimsy at Sensational Farms event, and this is with the Whimsy Market. I made $6.62 and I spent $60, and I put I love Whimsy Markets at Sensational. Also, here's like a little bit of drama and kind of a fun little story about that. I guess this is the tea for the gossip in the market community around here. So I found out about Whimsy through doing that first market that I ever did, because like they were talking about maybe the market wasn't doing good because the Whimsy Market was going on at Sensational Farms, and that was like pulling everybody away from the market that I was at. And I was very intrigued by that, and there was kind of like this drama with like them not liking each other or something like that. But yeah, so I did Whimsy and it was really good. So yeah, that's how I found out about that, is because there was some gossip going around about battling market organizers. Okay, so that's enough of the drama. The next one I did was Collective Corner, and it's obviously with Collective Corner. I don't remember the name of this Collective Corner market, but I made $504 and I spent $75. And I said Collective Corner is always so good. I've only had one not so good that I will talk about. I guess the first one I did was not super good, but I had one that's like a little bit less good in the future too. But I will talk about that when I get to it. But yeah, I love Collective Corner. I think it's really, really good. I feel like the people who run it are always like so nice, so easy to talk to, and just do a really good job like marketing it. I also think Collective Corner, same with Milk Mart, have a kind of group of people who are always like really supportive of it. Like they've kind of like a community, that's the word I'm looking for. They have come up with this kind of like community of people who are always really supportive of it, and I like that. Okay, next one on my list is O-Town Provisions with Orlando Local Makers, and once again, this was a Wednesday market with Orlando Local Makers, and I made $0 and I spent $50. Do not do these. I'm telling you right now, do not do these. These are always really bad. So when I got there, and I talked about it in the video, wherever I link it, when I got there, I was like really confused because I thought it was a brewery. So I was like kind of looking around to see where the brewery part was, because I didn't see anywhere where you would like get beer. So I Googled it, and it is not a brewery. It is actually a facility that like transports Boar's Head products. So there would be no reason for anyone to organically go to a factory that transports Boar's Head products. You're not going there on a Wednesday night. You're not going to that. So there's like no organic traffic there. I talked more about it in the video, but do not do any of the midweek Orlando Local Makers. I'm telling you, don't do it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Unless you just are kind of masochistic and want to be sad, then you can do it. The next one I have is She Sells Halloween, and this is also through Orange Boy Events, I think. I don't remember if it's through Orange Boys or if it's own thing, but the organizer is like the partner of the person who does the TPD Night Market. So I think it's through Orange Boy Events, but I'm not entirely sure. But She Sells is like a women's only situation, and I made $3.72 and I spent $55, but I also bought Play-Doh to give out for Halloween, so, and I had to pay $10 for parking, so factor that in there. But I said, very good, but there were some other events going on for Halloween that could have influenced this. I really like the organizer. Yeah, the town of Orlando, the city of Orlando, was having an event at Lake Eola that night where they had like Halloween movies, and they had kind of like a competitive, not competitive, they had a competing market, I think, kind of going on beside us, so I think that drew more people in too. So I don't know if that like success could be attributed to that, or if it was just a good night for a market. And then the next one, another womp womp. This was at Foxtail Coffee, and it was with Orlando local makers, and it was a Saturday market. I made $122 and I spent $50. So I think pretty much all Orlando local makers like events are not that good, except for Art After Dark, which I will talk about in just a little bit. So Art After Dark is good in my opinion. All the other ones I think are really hit or miss for people. It's mostly been missed for me. So yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. Don't do it. Don't do them. So the next one is the really big one that is kind of a little bit complicated in terms of like figuring out how much I spent, and it's the Markets for Makers Jacksonville, and that's with Markets for Makers, and I ended up making about $2,600, which is really, really good. But my booth fee plus my application fee was around $800, and this is what I wrote, and it's gonna be kind of long, so listen in. It was a fun experience. It did make a lot of money quickly, but you do have to factor in a few things. The booth fee was $50-ish application plus $750-ish for the actual booth fee, but we did have to rent a U-Haul trailer, 2 nights stay at a hotel. My parents flew down here. After that, it may be not like be the most profitable thing in the world, but I thought it was a fun experience, and I learned a lot to help boost my profitability the next time I do it, which will be February. So yeah, so I'm doing that one again in February. I'm going to be doing the February one by myself, so I'm very interested to see how that's going to go. So probably instead of renting the U-Haul trailer, I'm just going to rent an actual U-Haul van and go down there Friday, kind of like in the day, because you can do Fridays, like Friday setup. So I'll go down there and I'll be by myself and spend the night there on Friday night and Saturday night, and then come up Sunday after it's done. And I kind of have like a different way that I'm going to set up that I think is going to be better and more profitable. So yeah, it's kind of hard to like, I guess I could like figure out how much it was for gas and for the U-Haul trailer and for the hotel, but I'm not going to do that because that is a lot of work. So that is where I'm going to leave it on the Markets for Makers. I liked it. I thought it was a good time. I made some friends, got those cute little guillotine earrings. So yeah, so I'm excited to do that again, and hopefully you'll stick around and see me do that in February. The next one I have is the Mother of All Baby Showers, with the Mother of All Baby Showers. And oh, I also meant to mention Markets for Makers Jacksonville is like 2 hours north of me, so you also have to factor that in too. But the Mother of All Baby Showers was in Tampa, which is like technically an hour and a half south, but with traffic it's more like 2 hours. So this was a huge waste of time. I made $200 and I spent $400, and I had to drive to Tampa. So waste of time, extremely frustrated by this event, not set up for actual vendors. They shouldn't have let me do it. Most of that $200, I'm gonna say $150 of that $200 was from other people who were there who bought stuff from me, like other people who were set up for booths, not actual people who were there to attend the event. So the event itself, it was like, it's in the Glazer Children's Museum, and it was like big people were downstairs, like Graco, Dr. Brown's, like other just like baby people were like giving stuff away, and like, you know, it's like a ticketed event, so like pregnant people would like buy like their ticket, and they could have like a support person come, and they would like enter these like raffles and like get like free products and stuff like that. And then there were some of us who were upstairs, and I think there were only 2 actual people that were selling things, me and these people beside me who were selling like salt soak, like foot bath stuff. I'm not entirely sure, but it was $400 to do that, and that was the discounted fee for being a local. And they really should not have let me do that, because like the people around me were at pediatricians' offices and hospitals where you would deliver your baby, and they were just giving away stuff and like trying to network with pregnant people. That was a huge waste of time, and I'm very upset. And there was also no one there. It wasn't even just the fact that I was like one of the only people selling stuff. It was that there was no one there. Like I would say I don't remember how many I said in the video about this, but I want to say maybe 10 groups of people like actually came upstairs and came through. It was a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort for absolutely nothing. So lost money on that one. Not fun. Do not recommend it. But that's not really one that you would probably be interested in anyway if you're watching this video, just because it is very specific. But if you thought about it, don't do it. Don't do it. But the next one I did is the Adjectives Fall Market, and that is with Adjectives Marketplace. And this one was pretty good. I made $402 and I paid $50. I think they're doing another one in March. I don't know if I would do it again. The booth fee was like pretty low, but it was like a really long day. I was out there, I think I got there at like 9 and I didn't come home till 6, I think. So it was like a long day, and if you watch that video, I kind of got into like an altercation with the person beside me a little bit, and I got bit and stung by some fire ants. And also coming into it after having that really bad market, like the mother of all baby showers, it was like the next day. So I was just all in a tizzy anyway, so that could also be why I don't know if I want to do it again, just because I've got PTSD from it. But maybe I will. I'll think about it. I'll see if anything else is going on that day. So the next one I have is the College Park Market with Orlando local makers. And I don't know why I tried this again. I guess I didn't learn my lesson, or maybe I signed up for it too early to back out. I made $139 and I paid $50. I will not do any Orlando local makers that are not art after dark. This one came recommended to me too though by another vendor who said that she always does good there. I don't know. All of that money I made in the last 5 minutes. This person, like, she came up and started just like buying a bunch of Christmas presents, I think. And so thank you for doing that. That is the only way I made any money, but I would not do that again. The next one, number 24, is Collective Corner Jingles Eve. I did remember the name of that one, and that's with Collective Corner. I made $374 and I paid $80. It was low for a Collective Corner market, but I think there was too much going on in the Ivanhoe district that night, because there were, I think, 4 or 5 different markets going on. So, and there was a wine walk. So there were a lot of crazy people out and about that night. I heard people were having their displays broken, signs knocked down, just people acting a mess. So I think that's why that one didn't do good. But I do generally like Collective Corner markets. And then the next one I did was the Veranda at Thornton Park, and it's at the Veranda at Thornton Park, and I made $20 and I spent $20. So I would say that that's not very good, so I would not recommend it. The low booth fee was not worth the time and the effort. It was really crazy. It was just a lot of me sitting there. So that made me a little bit grumpy, and it's kind of hard to get in and out of. So that was really stressful, and I would not recommend doing that at all. The next one is Art After Dark with Orlando local makers, and I made $402 and I spent $50. I thought this was really good, and it was raining and people said that it was pretty slow, so I will be excited to see Art After Dark when it is not slow. So Art After Dark is an Orlando local makers that I would do again. It's kind of far. It's in Lake Nona, which is like geographically not very far from me, but traffic wise it's like around 30 to 40 minutes. Kind of a little bit further than I would like to go, I guess, but it's generally pretty worth it based on that. And then the next one is another Whimsy at Sensational Farms with Whimsy Market, and $704 is what I made at this market, and I paid $65. And I really do always love Whimsy markets at Sensational. They are always typically very successful for me, and I got a couple in the new year that I'm doing, so I'm excited for that. I don't think I have one. I think my next Whimsy market is at Sensational. It's not this weekend, but I think it's next weekend. I'll have to think about that. But the next one on my list is the First Friday Baldwin Park Community Market, and I made $380 and I spent $45. This was really good for this market, but it was kind of random because it was extremely slow. Like, there was nobody there. I made most of that money in the first hour or two. I had like a group of teen girls that came in and bought a lot of sweatshirts. Like, they each got a sweatshirt for Christmas. So that was good. I liked that. And the next one I have is the Winterfest with City Awakening Church, and that is with the City Awakening Church in Oviedo. And this one was really good. I made $5.22 and I spent $35. This was a really good outcome, but it was kind of random. I had lots of sales from other vendors, but there was really slow foot traffic, and there were less people than they planned for because they had a whole bunch of different like activities that people could do. They had face painting, they had a rock climbing wall, they had a bunch of bounce houses, some good food stuff. They just didn't have as many people come out as they thought was going to be there. There was a ton of people from the church like working the event. So that was pretty interesting, but it turned out really, really good for me. Would I do it again next year? I think I would potentially do it again next year, because I mean, it's pretty close to my house and that was not a bad booth fee for the outcome, so maybe I would do it again. The next one on my list I have is Light Up Soda, and it is with Milk Mart. But I made $4.03 and I spent $50. It was kind of a rough day, but really good overall. I kind of had a lady who was really mean to me, and it rained and got all my stuff wet. So that was a lot. And then that's also the video, if you watched it, where my cargo hitch on the back of my car was broken by another vendor on accident. And she did pay to get me a new one, but I had already kind of had a bad day, so I was full on upset, crying, and it was a whole thing. If you want to see that, it'll be up there. And the next one I did was actually, it's kind of funny, like I went from a really good string of events to this next one. I did the Winter Festival at Lorette Elementary in Lake Nona, and I made $100 and I spent $20. It was a huge waste of time. The school was like putting on a market inside. It was really weird. I kind of realized, I thought it was going to be outside on the front lawn, but it was actually covered in the front like walkway area. So because my displays kind of rely on me having my tent up, I had to put my tent up kind of in the middle of nowhere in the front lawn where everyone else was kind of in the walkway going inside. So I don't know if that affected me, but there weren't a ton of people there. I kind of hit another kind of not so great market. It was Whimsy at Square Lake Mall, and it was with Whimsy, but it just was at the mall. It was bad. I made $158, but I spent $60. So this was not a good Whimsy market. It was really weird. We ended up getting to leave early because there was no one there. So I guess maybe markets at malls are like not very good. A lot of people who came up to me were like, they didn't even know it was happening. They just rolled up to the mall and they saw it was there. So I don't know how many people were there because they knew it was going to be there, or if they just rolled up to it. But I think that I'm not going to do any at the mall again, because also it was about an hour away from me, and I don't know, just not good. Next one I did was the Friendly City Flea in Bradenton, Florida, and this one was also a bust. So I made $234 and I spent $65. I would not do this again, probably. It's 2 hours away from me, and I expected it to be really, really good, but it is kind of a morning market, and so that was also a big annoying situation because I came home late from the Whimsy market, and then I had to wake up at 5 to drive to Bradenton to set up for this. So I had a huge idea in my head that it was going to be so good, and it was not. So I probably wouldn't do it again, but I met some cool people and I got a shirt, so that was fun. The next one was a surprisingly good one. It is the Home State Brewing Holiday Market at Home State Brewing in Winter Garden, and I made $382 and it was free. So free, heck yeah, I would do this again. It was really cute and relatively close, and I sold a lot in a short time, so I would definitely do that again. That was really fun. And then for the finale of 2023, I went out with a bang. I did the Holiday Milk Mart at Milk Mart, and it's in the Milk District in downtown Orlando, and I made $15.97 and I spent $125. It was so good. It was amazing even with the bad weather, because it was really rainy and super windy, like so windy where I had to like go out and buy cinder blocks. I have one in February, so I should be fully stocked and everything should be better. because like I think I could have made more money if I had more sizes in stock of my manatee. So I've got more sizes of my manatee, and I've got a couple other new things that are coming. So I think in February when I do Milk Mart, it's going to be even bigger and better, and hopefully the weather is better. That's my little rundown on all 35 markets I did. So in total in sales, I made $12,221, and in booth fees I spent $2,860 for a total revenue of $9,361 for those 35 markets from July to December. I think for 2024, I'm going to make my revenue goal for markets to be $30,000, and that's a really, really high number, and I'm hoping it's achievable. I'm kind of thinking about how I started in July, and like I kind of did a couple markets that were unsuccessful. So if I doubled the 9,361, that's almost 20,000. So technically, I guess last year I could have made around 20,000 if I doubled that. So I'm saying this year, let's do 30,000. I'm going to try to go for that. I know that might be a little bit crazy, but I think I'm going to be more selective about the markets that I do and kind of try to do less markets, but more bigger markets to see if that works out. And hopefully you'll follow along on this journey and kind of see what I learned this year and kind of see if this new tactic works out better. But I'm definitely excited to see where 2024 takes me. I think it's going to be a big year for me. I also am going to try to focus more on doing like TikToks and Reels and Shorts on here. I kind of stopped doing those as much as I did, but I think since I'm going to be doing less markets, I should have like kind of more time on the weekend and during the week to make those videos, like the short form videos, and really focus on doing some more like photography for Instagram and everything like that. But yeah, I am very thankful for all of you that have supported me during 2023 and hope to continue to get your support in 2024. I hope this information was helpful for you if you're thinking about doing markets here in the Central Florida area, or if you just wanted to see kind of like a recap of what I've been up to. It definitely was a lot. I'm definitely happy that I had a little reset over the holidays, but I'm definitely ready to jump back into it and get started. So yeah, so I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Beneath the shadows of this quiet town,